a wonderful day that we have. And I have in front of me Kristen Kurtz. Listen to this. She's a Christian life coach. She's a Revelation wellness instructor. And my favorite title that she carries is she is a hope dealer. Kristen, that's what you're gonna be right now in my book. I'm gonna like rename your name as a hope dealer. Girl, you have such a powerful, powerful testimony. You have such a powerful message. And I want you to share right now your story. I'm so excited to hear about that. Do you mind to share what you went through and how it got you to where you are right now, please?
Yeah, most definitely. I'm happy to share. This is, I believe, testimonies are so powerful, and what God keeps reminding me this year is reminded to remember. So we need to look back and see where we've come and the steps that we've gone through to get to where we are. Um, so my name is Kristen, which actually means follower of Christ, which growing up, I would not have adopted that message. I grew up in a family, 3 girls with parents that it was challenging, a lot of trauma. I moved a lot as a child, grew up in California. We moved, oh my gosh, 10 different times back and forth across the country. Like I said, grew up in a lot of trauma, physical, mental abuse, just very unstable environment that caused me to feel very unstable and very insecure. It's taken me a long time to be able to confidently share who I am, because back then I didn't know who I was at all. I was just kind of floating through life. People had talked a little bit about God, but I thought, well, if there is a God, he's not a very nice God, and I don't want anything to do with him. So we moved here to Minnesota. Like I said, by that time I was 14 years old, a freshman in high school, and I was just so broken from the instability, from being kind of that new girl all the time and then leaving all the time. I'm here to Minnesota, and I was in high school. By my sophomore year, a lot of people were drinking, a lot of people were doing drugs, and a lot of people were smoking. And I thought, okay, well, the eating that I'm doing, the working out that I'm doing, it's helping to relieve some stress. But I thought, oh my gosh, if I could numb everything, that would just be amazing. So I went down that road. I was typically smoking 1 to 2 packs a day, drinking. Even at school, I would bring a bottle of vodka, leave it in my locker, drink screwdrivers in class, just on a very destructive path. And by the time I got my license, I was drinking and driving, and I was kind of known as the designated drunk driver because I liked driving drunk. I liked driving on whatever substance I was on, because it was exciting. I was very at the end of my rope, and I didn't care, honestly. Like, I never tried to commit suicide, but even as a very young child, I thought, what's the point? Like, why am I even here? Like, what is the point of this life? Because everything sucks. That was how I saw the world. So by like my senior year, I was really deep into, I mean, I never did like hardcore drugs, but I was, I don't even feel like I need to share everything I did, like which drugs or anything, but it wasn't the really hardcore drugs that would cause you to like be so like addicted that you could potentially die, right? But I was addicted to the point where I was spending all my money on alcohol and drugs and cigarettes, and it was just very destructive. But I didn't see it that way. It was just very interesting looking back. And by my senior year, my husband, well, kind of backing it up a little bit, I was actually dating a drug dealer and a dope dealer. And I remember a friend of mine in school saying, hey, you should break up with this guy and start dating this guy named Adam, who was actually a boy that I went, I was in the same grade with, and I listened to him, and I started dating, who is my actual husband now, back as a 18-year-old. Fast forward a little bit, the person, Doug, who had basically said, hey, you should hook up with Adam. He ended up committing suicide right after high school. And that just broke my husband and I, because he was one that like partied with us. He was one who would think he was like the class clown. Everything on the outside looked really great, but inside he was just hurting so much, but he didn't have the people to talk to. But he also just saw that life wasn't worth living. And at that point, my eyes started to open up a little bit. And then the guy that I was dating, that was the dope dealer, he ended up passing away right after. And even though I wasn't a believer, I thought, my gosh, there's some signs here, like that I'm supposed to be with Adam, my husband. He's my husband now. All my friends around me were like, you're an idiot, like, because he had actually cheated on me. He was actually doing some really hardcore drugs. And anyways, we ended up getting married when we were 24. And by that time I was really deep in alcoholism, and we were not getting along, and just things pretty much hit like a rock bottom. And I just wanted to escape everything. Again, I didn't try to commit suicide, but I just was like, okay, like, can this just be done? Can we just be done here? And about a year later, after we got married on April Fool's Day, which is just so funny to look back on. But my sister, I'd been estranged from my family basically for about 10 years by that time. And my youngest sister had actually gone away to college and had an encounter with Jesus, and started going to church, and was going through eating disorders, bulimia. And she had actually reached out to me and said, hey, Kristen, would you like to come to church with me? I'm living back in the Twin Cities now because I'm not doing very well physically. And I said, you know what? Maybe, sure. Because at that point, I thought if I ever walked into a church that I would burn the place down just because of my presence. And anyway, she invited me November 1st, which was the day after Halloween, which for anybody who is not a believer and is, into like partying, well, what do you do on Halloween? You go party. So I ditched out on her. And thankfully, she kept pursuing me. That following weekend, I went up to a friend's house in northern Minnesota, and I almost died from drinking too much. Again, my sister pursued me that next weekend. And I did go to church, and I thought, this is really weird. People are like raising their hands when they're singing. Like, what is this? Like, I don't understand. But whatever it was that day that the pastor was saying, it spoke so deeply to my heart. And to have somebody who was so anti-Christianity, anti-Bible, like if you heard the things that came out of my mouth towards Christians, I look back now and I see it. It was really a Saul to Paul conversion, because not that I persecuted Christians per se, but my mouth did. And I think it was a week or two after that I accepted Christ as my Lord and Savior, and he just wrecked me. Like I didn't want to drink anymore. I didn't want to do drugs anymore. I quit smoking. Wow. Like I just became on fire. And my husband thought I was part of a cult. And he was not happy with my sister because his party wife was missing. Like, he's like, where is Kristen? Like, what is going on here? And here I am going to like a local bookstore. I go pick up a man's Bible for him, and he's just like, I want nothing. No, just no. So that became very difficult. And ended up getting pregnant right away and lost that baby shortly. I think it was about 8 weeks in, and then ended up getting pregnant again and lost that baby about 12 weeks in. And again, I thought, well, if God is good, why is he messing with me again? I thought like I was going to enter like Cinderella's castle because I'm
Yes.
a believer. I have a lot of resilience. I know that's a word you like in my life. And I thought, you know what, if this man can go through all this, oh my gosh, I can too. So it just began this journey of just staying so tethered to the Lord, because my husband didn't want anything with it. All my friends were like, oh my gosh, she's gone crazy. So I became alone basically with the Lord. And I did end up getting pregnant 3 months after I lost the second.
Mm-hmm.
The hope dealer came in 2017 when I heard him speak that over me, that I am to be a hope dealer. So it's basically the overarching message that I bring is hope, even in the midst of darkness, and encouragement. I like to say encourage, because sometimes it takes a lot of courage. Yeah, so that's my story. My husband still is not a believer, so that again is another very challenging piece of my life, but I'm going to continue to follow Jesus, and I believe that in doing that and in growing and learning and surrendering, that it will impact, and already I know it has already, but it's a hard place to be.
It is very much so. And
Yeah.
I like that you went from being like with a dope dealer and now you're a hope dealer, which
Yeah.
is such a powerful statement, Kristen. It's just mind blowing. And your name actually got you. You know, you could not run away from yourself.
I
Your
know.
name that was like, like a prophetic in you
Yes.
got you, like they caught you, and that's it. You're trapped right now. There's no way that you can go to. We try to run from the left to the right from our destiny, from
Yeah.
God, but you cannot hide from him. We know that. So I'm so happy that he finally reached you.
Yeah.
But what I want you to do is right now to take a minute and tell that to the woman who is right now listening.
Mhm.
What would you want to say to her right now to encourage her to get up and go for it?
Yeah. Well, I would love to read a chapter of the Bible, if that's okay.
Yes, that's okay.
Especially in this season that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
Psalm 91. This is in the Passion Translation. Um, when you sit enthroned under the shadow of Shaddai, you are hidden in the strength of God Most High. He's the hope that
Yes.
holds me and the stronghold to shelter me. The only God for me and my great confidence. He will rescue you from every hidden trap of the enemy, and he will protect you from false accusation and any deadly curse.
I received that, Kristen, and I
Yeah.
absolutely love the Passion Translation. It
Yeah.
speaks like a volume to you and speaks your language.
Yes.
And it's so powerful. So, Kristen, you went through so much, and I wish you that God will continue to use, because He's already in you, right? He's already in your name. So there's no way that you can hide. Now, the biggest person that you need to influence, that God is going to catch very soon, it's your husband, because
Yes.
sometimes we want to like save the world while we are neglecting our own. I'm not saying you are neglecting, but usually sometimes we become like a hero. I'm going to save them. I want to save them. I'm going to preach, to the nations. But the nation that we have is our family, is our loved ones. So
Yeah.
I know God has a plan for your husband, but this is the time of testing, time of our faith to grow even stronger and bolder. So go, girl, go, hope dealer, go and get your husband right now and get that girl who needs you right now to hear and be by her side.
Yes.
God bless you, Kristen.
Thank you. You too.